It's your boy K Sean. I'm coming back today. I know it's been a little minute, um, but today's video is actually gonna be really good. Gonna get some work in on the charts because I know that's more so what people like to see. A lot of people learn by seeing stuff. Um, Today I'm just going over why it's important to study. Why it's important to really like back test your pair during your time, not just randomly showing up and studying and not just randomly showing up and trading in the market either. Like picking a specific time each day that you're going to show up in a specific pair you're going to trade during that time frame as well. So you really want to study it. Um, so I'm pretty much just going to be going over how I back test. So you'll get to see a little bit of how I see the market, the strategy. You might like it. It's a lower time frame strategy. 5 minute is king when it comes to my strategy. So it's really like a 5 minute strategy. Um, and yeah, I got this from a combination of courses. It just finally started to click for me. Um, I will say it's a little different. It's not so much a strategy, like specific, oh, this, and that, than it is an approach. Like I make sure I'm at the market at the same time, looking for the same thing at the same time. I have a very specific 1 to 2 profit target, and just staying consistent in doing so and using the concepts of my knowledge. At the end of the day, trading is not one size fit all. So saying you just have one strategy every time or every day, like it's tough to do that because the market can do what it wants whenever. So I just make sure I approach the market at the same time, feeling the same way. So always sober, always clear minded, showing up to the market at the same time every day and using what I know about the market. So I'm good with supply and demand concepts. So using that but really following, taking into account 1 hour structure and 15-minute structure, but letting 5 minute really dictate what I'm entering the market on. Um, so let me just jump right into it because I feel like this might help some people because me starting to study and study consistently is really what changed my trading. So for me, my trading time is 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., but I'm thinking about shortening it because I'm always done early. Um, and I only allow myself to take 3 trades in a day. It doesn't matter what the outcome or whatever it is. And my rule is if once I get a win, I'm done. So once I get my win for the day, I'm out. If I insist on taking another trade, it's going to be for half of the original risk. So it's a lower risk. Um, because we just want to consistently get our share each day. If I just consistently come in and get my 1 to 2 every day and be content with that, I can start to upgrade that. Risk more on the 1 to 2 as I get better with it. Not even get better, just consistently doing that and then letting my account grow and keep doing it over and over. Only thing changing is the numbers, but I'm just showing up and doing the same thing. Um, so let's get into that. So this is a Sunday, 9 p.m. So we can go to the next day because I already can see what happened right there. So that's 9, 1, 5. So we're stopping at 5 p.m. So the first thing I do is I look at the 4 hour and I'm trying to identify what phase of the market price is in or what phase price is in. So I see that price is uptrending on the 4 hour. There's a demand sitting right here. I'll draw it for the video, but I don't normally draw it up there, just so you guys see. It's a level of demand sitting here. This is the high. Price pulled into here, and it's in an impulse phase. And we can assume it might be trying to make it up to the high and test this high, see if it's going to break it, because it already has come down, given us a retracement, tested this demand, and now it's pushing off of it, which the next destination, likely destination, is going to test the last high. Um, So we just keep that in mind. Again, this is all a soft bias because our main bias is going to come from the 5 minute. So now I go down to the 1 hour. So the 1 hour starts at 8 p.m. So I simulate two candles, 9, 10. Uh, we're gonna so 9, 10. So right before 11, and then I go ahead and mark off my session for the night. Some people have it with the indicator. I just like drawing mine on every night. So I go to 11 to 4, pull it down. And I actually have a little template for mine, so I like what it looks like. Then I go to the 1 hour, and now I'm actually looking for structure, and I'm identifying structure for myself. Um, with this, you actually definitely want to be accurate with how you're identifying structure, um, but also you want to be recent. So clearly I see this is a low, and there's some demand sitting here. It's probably a little bigger than this, but I'm going to just draw it here for the moment. Then I'll go back and check it. So go to the 15 minute to check it. Now I actually get this whole area. Then go back. So I use the 1 hour for 15-minute structure, the 15 minute for 5 minute, and so on and so forth. Like I said, I know I understand a lot of concepts well. So I just make sure I come to the market consistently and apply those concepts however they need to be. Trading is not one size fit all. Trading is situational. One day you might have to do this, the next day you might have to do that. You never know until you get there and see what is being presented to you. And just trust that you'll know the right thing to do and do it. Trust that you know the right thing to do and do it. So 15-minute here, and then you have 15-minute high here. So now I see in what phase is price in here. So price just impulse, and then this candle didn't get higher than this candle, so a retracement started. So I'm thinking price is in a pullback. So I'm focusing on this little area on the 15-minute. So on the 15-minute, what do I notice? Boom, an impulse to the downside, and then we get a what? Impulse, impulse. So here we probably looking at something around this area up here. Let's just define this is 5 minute. And so now we are on the 5 minute. So I have a rule that I don't trade the first 15 minutes of my session, which means I don't actually trade till 11:15 because my focus is what's happening during my period. So I want to give myself a few candles. So that's going to be the first 3 5 minute candles. 1, 2, 3. And then I use these to kind of help me decide and define where I think price may be trying to go and move to. So as of right now, I don't really have enough. Price just doji and then came back up. So we're going to just let it play until it starts to make a little bit more sense to us. All right, so here we got aggressive selling to the downside. So what I want to do is mark up this 5 minute supply here. And then on this test, we'll see if there was a reversal pattern. No, there wasn't. So we would need to wait for a 5 minute pattern to potentially get in. So let's see. It blew straight through it. So you definitely, that's why we wait for our confirmation candle. So as of right now, it just blew through all of that. So we want to, I like this little X area. Actually, I like here because it needs to come and fill this. So we have a 5 minute demand that was was formed by price breaking this little area here. So we just waiting to see if price is going to test it or break this and potentially test the other side. Oh. So this definitely was a supply to start, but some supplies can turn into support and resistance. Like supply and demand and support and resistance are two completely different concepts. But I understand both of them so well that I use them together in a sense. So sometimes when you see certain supply and demand, so you see how this was a supply before, but look how many times it was tested. One, two, three, and then look how it acted when it was around it. So boom, 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 boom. Like it gave multiple tests to it. So even though this was a supply, once it was broken, this can be used as support and resistance as well. So now I'm looking at this as a potential support if price comes back, tests it, and rejects off of it. Um, it ain't no real way I can tell you how to do that, like, cause it's not one way you know how to do it or not know how to do it. If you understand the concepts, you understand how you can use supply and demand and support and resistance together. If if you don't, you really just don't. Like you're gonna have to practice with it, and then you'll kind of start to understand the difference between the two. Because every supply and demand can't be used. Every supply or demand cannot be used as a support and resistance if it gets broken. Some of them are just broken supply and demand zones. So you really got to know how to decipher between them. But let's go ahead and see. So I'm just looking to see if price gonna test off some. Boom. There we go. So it came back and tested off our level. Do we get any reversal pattern? Boom. Yes, we do. So we're looking to get in right here off the cuff of this, which we are at entry. So I'm going to explain why I'm looking to get in here. 1 minute. So I'm looking to get in here because once I get to the 1 minute and 5 minute, I don't focus so much on the wicks. I focus on the bodies. So price was coming down, pulled back, pushed further down. Then it pushed up here, and pushed up here, breaking this high, creating a new high. And now it's pulling back, testing the created demand that came from it breaking to the upside when it was downtrending. So this chalk pattern that happened right here. So because it pulled back, I'm looking to enter straight off the touch. I mean, you could wait for a confirmation candle, but whenever it's a chalk pattern, I'm pretty confident in the 1 minute chalk patterns. I'll just say I practice it a lot to where I'm pretty confident in it. And then we go to the 5 minute and just see how it play out. See what price decides to do. Boom. So we got stopped out. We accept that. We don't force it. Price came, tested. Let's see. Focusing on the 5 minute. So we're going to get rid of this now that we have a supplier demand. And like I say, y'all seen we just got stopped out. So that's one trade for the night. Down. Because I back test like I'm actually in the market live trading. Alright, so we're looking to see if we get a retest off it. We kind of got one here, but I want to see a real one. If you know what I'm talking about. Boom. That's a real one. So now let's just see what we get. Boom. So here we would have had to get in on this lower time frame. Boom. Which I also use 1 minute confirmation as well. So I would have got in after this candle because it was coming off of the 5 minute zone so strong. below this candle. And my profit target is 1 to 2. So I'm risking 3.6. So 1 to 2 for me is 7.2. Now, just a tip for people. Um, I always extend my TP 1 pip more. So if I'm looking for a 7.2 to be 1 to 2, I actually put it at 8 to 2 to account for spread. When I calculate my risk, I add an extra pip and then calculate my risk. And then I add an extra pip to the take profit to account for the spreads. It works for me, but that's just something I do. So we're going to see how the trade plays out on the 5 minute. And I'll explain what I do as things happen. So let's see what happens. Boom. All right, so I don't just take profit here. I will actually hold. So I hold based on momentum. So as long as price is still pushing up, I'll hold. And if it pulls back one time, like one candle, that first candle I call as a grace candle. So I'll allow it to pull back that one candle. If it keeps going after that, I go ahead and take majority. But this is now a winning trade. So the worst thing that can happen here is it comes back to break even if I fuck up and miss on my exit somehow. So let's see what happens. So we're still in there. So we held it all the way through there. So that's our first grace candle. I call it a grace candle because if it technically can be the start of a pullback, or it could have just been a small resting candle. So I don't judge price off the first pullback candle. I got to see what the next one does before I make my decision. So the next one was also a bearish candle. So I would have went ahead and took majority of profit right here once that closed, which means I would have got a little more. So I would have took about 80% off, and then I'm just gonna leave a runner until I feel like taking it off. You feel me? I put the runner to break even, and I just let it go. And in this case, I still pay attention to the runner, because so that runner would have been up. But I'm a little more loose with the runner because it's like, all right, that's just extra bread. All right, so it's starting to push down, so I'm gonna just go ahead and exit my runner too. So that was our win for the night. So we done on this, like we done for the night. So that's how I trade. Once I get my win, I'm done. So look, we took a little loss earlier, but we got back with a 1 to 5. So we took majority around 1 to 2.5. So that other 2.5 would have been half. So we made about, our 1 to 2 secured as 1%. So we made about 1.5% off of the trade just by securing our 1% and then letting the other 20% run. It made us an extra 0.5%, which is great. Um, and you could have held some people a little stronger. Like I didn't want to hold through this. After I see two bearish candles, nah, I'm good. But if you would have held through this, look, that would have been a 1 to 5 before you even closed, which would have been about 2.5%. So it's worth it. I risk 0.5% per trade. So when I lose 0.5%. When I win, I'm getting at least 1%. It works out for me based off the way I trade. So I got my win today. So I'm done with this pair. And after I'm done trading my session, I always like to go to the high time frame. So I go like to the 1 hour, and I ask myself, I say, based off the candles I see that happen during the time I'm trading, do I feel like I maximized what was possible? And looking at this, the start of my session, we got a small bullish doji, and then we got a big bullish candle, and then we got a big bullish wick all the way up to here that actually looked like it started to turn bearish. So we closed. We got this little area right here that we traded and got a win. And I would say, yeah, I definitely took advantage of what the market offered me during this time period. And I do this part just because, there's still nights that you might slip up and be trying to force things. And when you go back after your session's over, after you take your 3 trades, if you make it to three, and are done, take an outlook and see, hey, did what I try to do today match what the market actually did? And if it didn't, try to figure out why. And if it did, accept whatever the results is, move on, show up the next day. So yeah, I'm done with this session. So, and look, it went crazy later that night, but I was already done for the night, so I'm good. I don't really care what the market's doing when I'm not there. So I'll do another day. So literally exit off and go to the next day. So it's 1 a.m., 5, 9, 1, 5. So this is 5 p.m. So I ask myself again, okay, what phase is the market in on the 4 hour? So this was the demand here, it pushed to a high, and this could potentially be the start of a pullback. I say potentially because this is the first pullback candle. So the first pullback candle can just be a little rest, or it can actually start a full pullback, especially because look how close this demand is. I always consider the wicks when you're doing supply and demand. Like, yes, when I'm looking at structure, I value the bodies more than the wicks on the lower time frames. But when it comes to the supply and demand, I don't care if it's on the 1 minute or 5 minute. I include the wicks because those wicks are more powerful than you think. Um, so I would just be focused on this downtrend to see if it's actually starting a downtrend. So I would go to the 1 hour. This is 8 o'clock, so 9, 10, and then I highlight my session. 11, 4. Sometimes I go down, extend it a little longer. So this is my session. Alright, so now I go and mark it up. So the first thing I see is, well, I see two things. I see a demand sitting down here untested. So I want to draw that on. Then it came up to high here. Then this is another demand here. So we can focus on here. So this is current structure. This is an old supply. This is an old demand. This is current structure demand. And this is the 15-minute high. So remember, I used the 1 hour to define 15-minute structure. Now I'm going to the 15-minute. I ask myself, what phase of the market is price in? So price pushed up, pulled back to the demand, and it's looking to push off. So it could potentially be it could be looking to start or have already started in upward trend on the lower time frame. So we go to the 15-minute to evaluate. What do we see on the 15-minute? Sure enough, it did here, pull back, push, and this is it. So boom, we're looking right here. So we'll just count that as a 5-minute. And then we go to the 5-minute. Now remember, yes, we see what price is showing, but we want to focus on what the 5-minute is doing. So we could draw this little demand here that we see. And I consider 5-minute is the only thing that I actually evaluate on the 5-minute. And I evaluate it on the 15 and the 5-minute. But my focus is what I evaluate on the 5-minute. So it came down to here. So let's see on the 1 minute. The 1 minute just produced a chalk pattern. So I have a bias, but remember I can't get in for the first 15 minutes anyway. So let's go ahead and get these three candles out the way. 1, 2, 3. So look, it's a good thing that I gave myself those three candles, because if I would have hopped in based off this analysis, I would have took a loss off the rip. And like I said, my main focus is what's happening during my session, not really what happened before or after. So price aggressive sold. So we know for sure we got a demand right here. I mean a supply. Ignore me. I just be saying supply or demand. I don't be really paying attention, but I understand the concepts and I know what I'm doing when I'm doing. Um, Price is pushing into a bigger 5-minute supply or demand. But what I'll tell you is, when it comes to my trading, I'm focusing on what price is doing. I don't really care what it's pushing into, because just because it's pushing into something, if price is still showing bullish, trust it is bullish until it shows you that it's not bullish anymore. Yep, so that went all the way with no pullback. So you're getting rid of that. Damn, and it just took the bottom off of this one. But because this is an old one, remember what I said, look how many times it touched. So I want to go back to the 15, the 1 hour. I want to go back to where I drew this one on, and I want to make it into a zone because it got broken through. So I make that into a 15-minute level. Go back to the 15. You see how it works? So now this is so using support and resistance for it. So it broke through there. And remember, we focus on current structure. So that's kind of my secret weapon too. Because I'm trading on the 5-minute and using like 1-minute confirmations or 5-minute confirmations, I understand people are like, oh, this is downtrending. I don't care. My focus is the last 4 or 5 candles. So whatever price is presenting to me in the last 4 or 5 candles is what I take into account for my analysis. So here, price is pushed up enough to break the supply. Then it produced a doji off the supply. Um, so I would want to get in. If price can push past the highs of this and that doji, I want to get in under here just to protect myself. And my TP, of course, I'm looking for my 1 and 2, which is 17. So I turn it into 18 pips. So let's see what happens. So right now it's just rejecting. It really ain't showing us nothing yet. Push to the upside, slide all our things so we can see. I am a very strict trader. Um, Once I take a chance on an idea, either I'm getting stopped out or it's hitting my profit target. There's no in between for me. Yes, that means sometimes it gets in profit like this, even like something like this, and then turns into a loser. But I'm willing to take that um, because it keeps me consistent and more disciplined. It's less for me to have to assume or guess with. Boom. So we got stopped out of this one. After it rejected off of here. So now we're thinking, all right, it might actually be bearish. So let's see. Broke back through tested. So this is kind of my last chance. So we ain't take, this ain't our second loss. This is our second trade. So price pushed very, very bullish straight past here. And if we go to the 1 minute, you'll see the structure better here. Boom, price, boom. This was the high, this was the low. Pushed past it and came back and tested this demand. Like I said, I just understand the concepts and know it so well that I'm just able to just apply this on the go. And this is how I show up to the market as well. I'm very free. I use just what I know, trust what I know. So this is where I would have got in looking for 1 to 9.6 or 10.6. Might be asking, why do I keep getting in on buys when it's showing sell? The reason is because I'm using the support and resistance of this. Every time it dips under this support, it pushes right back up bullishly. This was it did last time. Pushed up, pulled back, pushed up. It just didn't hit our profit target. So we got stopped out. But guess what it did again? Pushed up, and it still didn't break this low here. So as soon as it came and tested this, I would have been good. Boom. So we got stopped out a second time too. So now it's just time to be like, okay, price might really be downtrending now. Boom. So now we're looking to get in the downway. And this is our last chance. So what did price do? Gave an aggressive sell, came back, retested it. So I want to go to the 1 minute, see if it's structured there. It's not really structured there, but it gave a bullish confirmation candle. So I'm willing to get in as soon as it breaks here. Here for protection, of course. 14.8, so I make that 15.8. And this is my last shot of the night. This is my third trade. This will determine if I'm going home with some profit or not for the night. Boom. Got stopped out. And that's okay. Days like that happen. So you gotta remember, yesterday we got up. We lost a 0.5%, then got up 1.5. So we are up 1%. Then we lost 3 at 0.5%. So now we're down by 0.5%. So let's go to the next day. I'm not gonna end it on no bad note. So we're gonna go to the next one. This one. So we gotta ask ourselves, price is definitely impulsing. You see that clear as day. So price is pushing up. So we're going to 11, 4. And we gotta play 19. Okay. So now we are on our 1 hour. We're analyzing this is the low, that's the high. We see that clearly. So this here is the demand. And we're not going to draw a high because it's still impulsing. So now we go down to the 15 minute. And we're just looking on here to see, hey, what's going on? See if it's leaving a hint of something. So price pulled back here, gave bull, came back, retested it, pushed past. So this is the new demand technically. This is for 5 minutes. So because it broke and then came and retested it, I want to actually take a deeper look on the 5 minute test. What do I see here? That it was pushing up. So I don't want to keep the big one. I want to focus on the little one I see. The one I'm seeing right here. So remember my 15-minute rule. So first 3 candles, let them play and see what's going on with them. Yeah. So boom. After seeing this, I'm already thinking, we're gonna wait and see if we can get in on the next pull. Boom. So it came back and retested. So now we're looking to see if it gives us a reason to get in. I go to the 1 minute when I see that kind of candlestick. So price pulled back here, pushed, price just broke there. So yeah, we're gonna get in off the break of this candle because price if this type of candle is very, very, very giving bearish bullish sentiment. I'll explain the story of it. So price did open here, and the sellers pushed it all the way down, almost through. But by the end of these 5 minutes, the buyers pushed up with enough power to have it in here, which for me, where it's happening at and how it's happening and how when I went to the 1 minute, it just broke structure because it broke this high right here. I'm more confident that if it can break past this high, that it's going to continue to push up. So we're risking 5.8. You already know what we're looking for, at least our 1 and 2. 11.6, 12.6. So let's see. Boom, we still in it because it's still pushing. Still in it because it's still pushing. Slowed down a little there. Push down. So we would have took majority right here, the 1 to 3. So that means we were up about 1.7%. So we go ahead and secure 80% of that. So that leaves about, we could secure about 1.2. So we made 1.2%. We were down 0.5. So now we're up and we're going to leave a runner. So let's see how far the runner goes. Okay, yeah, it's getting a little too bullish for me. So I take the rest of the runner off right here. So that probably turned that leftover 0.5% we left on to about, let's just say a 0.7, 0.8. So We come back and now we're up 1.5% for the next day. So yeah, because that we got a win on our first trade, so we're done for the night after that. And then we took our winner off because price was runner off, and we're done. So it's that simple. On the days that you get a win on your first trade, that's the days that you get to separate yourself. And that's the end of it.